Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Autumn and today's vlog is going to be a few days in my life. Not gonna lie, it has been a few weeks since I have actually sat down and vlogged. I just want to get back into things. I discussed a lot in my Camp Nano wrap-up video, which was posted I think last week. So if you're not quite sure about how I did for Camp Nano and a little bit of what was going on in July, I will leave that video linked down below. But in this vlog, I don't know exactly how long it'll go. I think it'll be a couple of days this week and a couple of days next week. The last time I wrote was on Monday. Since August, I have not written anything, which is fine because it's only been like 3 or 4 days. I did a lot of errands and I did a lot of stuff this morning. I am just now getting home and I decided to treat myself to a matcha latte because the Starbucks around me, I guess these are a hot commodity because they're always out. So I saw that they had some and I got one. Now it's just gonna be me and you for the rest of today until about 7 o'clock. The first thing I need to do is do about 30 minutes of writing today. Since I have a lot of momentum going with the story and I have a little bit of time to spare so I can work on my story today. And I feel like I should. It doesn't have to be a lot, doesn't have to be hundreds of thousands of words or anything, but just to revisit the story. Currently, I believe I'm starting Act 3. I'll have to check on that. In my next update, I'll let you guys know exactly where I'm at in the story. Going into August, I'm feeling really good about my story. I better be feeling good because this is the month that I set my self-imposed deadline. I feel very confident that I will hit that goal. My manuscript is sitting currently a little above 51,000 words, and I want between 60 and 65,000 words for the entire manuscript. So I've got a little less than 15,000 words to go for this project. But to do that, I need to set aside time, even if it's just 30 minutes today. That's what I'm gonna start out the day with doing, or the afternoon. I'm gonna jump right out the gate and do about 30 minutes of writing. I am excited to get back to writing. I'm also really wanting to get back to my current read, which I know this is more of a writing channel and I do a lot more discussing like everything that I'm doing writing wise, but I wanted to let you guys know what I'm currently reading or rereading at the moment. Oh, I'm reading 2 different books, but this was the book that was closest, so this is the one that we're gonna talk about. I am currently rereading Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. It is a reread and I am prepping for that book's release in November. I always forget how much I love Suzanne Collins' writing. It's just phenomenal. I want to read a good bit of that later. I'm about 50 pages in and it's not super long, and while I have the audiobook from Libby, I would like to have that to read along with. I think just for the rest of the day, I am just going to be writing, doing a little bit of cleaning and picking up and things like that, and reading Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. For the first few minutes of this vlog, I'm definitely going to just be sitting on the couch. You ever feel like you want to be productive, but you don't really want to leave your couch? That's how I'm feeling right now. I don't really feel like going into my office and sitting at my whole contraption, so I'm just gonna do my writing sprint from here. I feel like lounging, but I also feel like being productive. So while the laptop loads, I just wanted to talk to you guys about something, and it might not even be something you guys notice, but I feel like I just want to talk about it because I did mention this in a vlog last month and it's something that I've been dealing with and I've been talking to a specialist about. So if you notice any redness around my eyes or whatever, I have gone to the dermatologist to figure out what the problem is, and we're not quite sure what the issue is. Currently, we've been trying to do like certain things to figure out what's causing this weird reddish breakout type thing that's going on my eyelids. Just wanted to say that if you guys notice it or if you see anything that looks kind of like weird with me, or if I look a little puffy, I'm aware. I am trying to figure out what the problem is. I'm already talking to a dermatologist, a specialist, and I don't think it's quite noticeable right now because it's a little dark in here. I'm aware it itches, it hurts, but I'm okay. Anyways, now that I have drawn your attention to that, which I'm sure you hadn't even noticed before I said something, and now you'll see it in every vlog, I would like to talk about my writing. I am very, very pleased to announce that I am now on the third and final sheet for my plot grid. I've been showing you guys this throughout the whole writing process for this story. I have been absolutely loving using this plot grid. It has just been absolutely amazing through this whole story. It's really helped me see what subplots don't need to be in the story, don't make sense for the story. And I've also added 1 or 2 subplots. They seem to be working out with the story pretty well. Highly recommend using a plot grid. First time I've ever used one for a story, and I would say that it's a B+. I wouldn't exactly say an A+, but I'd say a B+. For my story, I am on chapter 21 out of 27. We are very, very near the end. I have 6 chapters left, and that does not include the epilogue. When I write my first drafts, I don't include an epilogue or a prologue, only because I'm not quite sure if when the story ends, if that's exactly where I want the story to end. I don't write the prologue or the epilogue for the first draft. That is something more along the lines that I want to include in a later draft. So with this story, I've been trying to balance between the buildup of this final battle versus the final battle actually happening. So in chapter 21, I do have all of my characters except for 1 or 2 who are at the final battle scene. I'm hoping in the next chapter we're going to be starting the battle, but this battle is not the typical battle. Like, they're not on some huge thing of grass and the 2 enemy parties are fighting. That's not necessarily what my final battle is, but this final piece of the story, I'm hoping it will take about 2 to 3 chapters to really play that out and to get all of the characters involved and for them to have their arcs, or if they've already had their arcs, to have their final wrap up of the story. So chapter 20 was the start of act 3. So I'm already in act 3. I think this is the last chapter I need to set up what's going to happen in chapter 22, 23, and 24. And then I have 25, 26 being the aftermath of the battle, and then 27 is the ending. In my head, it seems to make sense. I just have to see how it'll go, if it will play out the way I want it to. Something I like to do also with my first drafts is I do discovery drafts a little bit, even though I don't feel like I should be discovery drafting too much since I'm in act 3, but sometimes you get ideas at the last minute and you sneak a line or 2 in there. While I do have my plot grid and I have a general idea of the pacing for the rest of the story, I am not against sneaking in another subplot or discovery drafting a little bit. With that in mind, I am now going to start writing. I think 30 minutes is good. I might end up doing about 45 minutes because it's almost 4:15 now, so I feel like a good 45 minutes to just casually work on this chapter, see how much I can get done. Then in 45 minutes the laundry should be done, and then I can get to reading. So it's about 30 minutes later, and I wrote 610 words, and I feel pretty good about it. I like how this is going with chapter 21. I mentioned this earlier that there's kind of a lot of moving pieces and little bits of things that are happening. So I feel like the writing now is going a little bit slower than how it's been going in the past. Just trying to make sure that since all of my characters are in different spots and they're not all together, when I'm switching back to another character or another group of characters, I'm having to go back another chapter or so to remember where exactly they were so I can pick that back up. That's not how I intended the story to go, and I don't know if I like it. It was something that I was experimenting with halfway through this story just to see if it made the story a little bit stronger. We'll see when I do a reread of this to start working on the second draft if I'm going to keep how this was. But again, it's fine for now. I already know that this whole story story is going to need a complete overhaul. Right now, my characters, I have a couple of the characters that are already in the location that they need to be in, except they're trapped in that location. And then I have my main character, and she is somewhat rallying the troops, I guess you could say. They are about to be making the march to go to the battlefield, which is not really a battlefield, it's the palace. That's where I've ended. That's not where chapter 1 ends, but that is where I'm going to be finishing my writing session for today. But I'm going to get up and walk around for a minute, and then I am going to continue reading Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is a reread right now. It's by Suzanne Collins. It is the Hunger Games prequel, so it follows President Coriolanus Snow when he was Katniss's age during the 10th Hunger Games. I have already read this. I read this when it came out, I think in 2021, and I read it the first month or two that it had come out. Absolutely loved it. But now I'm rereading it because this is the year that the movie comes out. So I wanted to refresh my mind on everything that's happening. I have the audiobook through Libby that I'm also listening to. That's what I'm gonna do for the next 30-40 minutes, and then I'm gonna have to cook supper. I'm making a Mediterranean Buddha bowl type thing. I've got quinoa cooking on the stove. I just took it off. I am about to cut up a cucumber. I've got baby arugula sitting right here. I've already cut up a beautiful tomato, and it was actually multiple tomatoes because they were little grape tomatoes. I bought a head of broccoli at Aldi today because it was like $1.20, and some carrots. For the beans, I am going to wash up these Great Northern beans. And then for the sauce, wow, that was really southern. For the sauce, I am going to do tahini and hummus. Oh, hang on, I just want to say something. So I feel like I'm going crazy. The cover, I guess, of Ballad and Songbirds and Snakes, it just changed. They just updated the cover. On Libby, it had been the original cover, like this one, and they just changed it to, I'm gonna screenshot this, and then I will put it up on the screen for you guys to see. It's beautiful, but I guess they just changed it to reflect it being a movie, because now it says on here now a major motion picture. Well, it's not really right now because it's not out yet. That was shocking to see a change because it was not like that. Literally 5 hours ago this morning when I was listening to it. I am having a pretty late start to the day. I slept for like almost 10 hours last night, which is really weird because I usually only sleep for like 6 to 7. I took the morning slow. I did a lot of reading for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I'm about 30% through with that. There's been a lot going on these last few days. I'm just trying to get back to finding a normal schedule, finding my normal balance. I think I mentioned this in my Camp Nano wrap-up video, but I was sick for a week, and then I had a long stretch of days all in a row of working 12-hour shifts on nights. I have just been trying to find my way back to a normal. Today is gonna be more into that realm of just finding my balance again. I was also supposed to film a video yesterday, but since I've been having my weird little breakouts type things, I haven't been exactly feeling in the mood to be in front of the camera and to vlog. So I have not done that. I will be hopefully getting back to vlogging soon. And it actually looks a lot better today. I don't even know if you could ever notice it on camera, but it's been feeling a lot better. It's not quite as itchy on my face. So hopefully next week I'll be able to film that video. So I decided to do a little bit of reading since I was sitting out here, and I am just now starting part 2, which starts at chapter 11. I forgot so much of this book. I'm so glad I am rereading it before the movie. I mean, I'll probably forget a few things in between now and when the movie comes out, but I have a much better understanding, and I'm remembering a lot more now that I'm rereading it. I've just been feeling like I want to take the day slow and just enjoy it. I am going to be making the camera battery died, but I just wanted to say that I am going to be making brownies later, and I'm really excited to be making some brownies. Hang on, let me put you back on the tripod. I think I want to read a couple more chapters of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I only have this audiobook from Libby for another 5 days. There are some people waiting, so I'm sure I won't be able to renew it immediately. So I do need to make sure I finish this audiobook in the next few days. I have really been loving reading lately and the books that I've been reading lately, so I'm just leaning into that, and I still have all month to get my 10 to 15-ish thousand words of my project, so I'm not overly concerned, but I still do need to work on my story a little bit later today. But I'm gonna read for a little bit more, probably read another chapter or two, and then I'm gonna make the brownies. Good morning, writing friends. It's the next day. I didn't write yesterday. I am just taking the morning slow again. I took a shower. I washed my face, and it's looking a lot better on camera too. I don't even know if you guys had ever even seen it or noticed it or anything, but it doesn't look quite as pink or red on the camera. Today we've got a little bit of a to-do list. It's a family member's birthday, so we're gonna be doing some festive stuff, like going out to eat with this person. I'm pretty excited for today. I might not seem like it. I just woke up. I haven't had my coffee yet. I just literally jumped in the shower, took 3 sips of water, and here we are. Hopefully it'll be a nice day, a relaxing day, a chill day. I don't really know what kind of vlog this is turning out to be because I have just random clips. So I'm about 150 pages into this. I am about to do a little bit more reading just because I know we're gonna be doing some running around today, and I still need to finish editing a YouTube video as well, which is gonna take like 8 hours. Love that for me. I'm not gonna be spoiling anything. I am just going to be talking about things very vaguely. There's a lot that has happened in this first part. I believe I'm about to start part 2, or maybe I'm 1 chapter into part 2, but there's a lot that I had forgotten. A lot of the characters I had forgotten, a lot of the things that the characters do I've forgotten. I will never get over how amazing Suzanne Collins' writing is. I absolutely love her writing. I loved it in all 3 of the Hunger Games. I've read 3 of her other books in her Underlander Chronicles. I think it's Underlander Chronicles, which is her children's epic fantasy. I have read 3 out of 5 of those books, and her writing is just wow. It's inspiring as a writer myself. I definitely look up to her writing. I feel like she writes very well. She's writing very well from a male perspective, even though it's not necessarily told by Coriolanus Snow. We are just following him. I think she still does a beautiful job with following a male main character, and she did a great job in her Underlander Chronicles as well. There are so many elements in this story that you can see have points and how certain things have changed over the years since this book to 64 years later with Katniss. It's just absolutely amazing. I am making breakfast, so if you hear things sizzling and things cooking, hash browns and fried eggs. I know I said it last week. I feel like I'm a broken record that I was sick for a week, worked several night shifts in a row the following week, and I feel like I haven't quite gotten back on track. It's been with a few things, like not just writing, reading. I also feel like it's been like that with some of my personal life things. I really want today to be that day that I get a lot of that stuff done. Today at 1:15, I have to go donate blood to the American Red Cross. It's 7:30 now, exactly 7:30. I have like all these other things that I have to do today. I need to get out my planner and make a list on my phone of exactly everything that I need to do today. I think I'll talk to you guys when the lighting's a little bit better because I'm not loving this lighting. So I've made breakfast. Did I absolutely make 2 hash browns? Absolutely I did. I have several things that I need to get to today, but let me eat this while it's hot, and then I'll grab my phone and then make a list and we can talk about it. I have been on a National Geographic kick recently. I'm absolutely obsessed with all of it. So I just finished watching an episode. While I was watching that episode, I went ahead and made that little to-do list that I was telling you guys that I needed to do. I don't think the Humane Society opens until 1 o'clock, but I don't know if that means the donation center isn't open. I don't know if it's outside and you can just donate whenever, but I would hate to drive all the way to the Humane Society and it's closed and I can't donate. And I also need to film my Camp Nano wrap up, which is also going to be going up late, but you know, sometimes it is what it is. I swear, I did a terrible job vlogging for this vlog. This has just been a mess to try and edit and fumble through. But apparently I never told you guys what I had planned for this day. I said that I had a list, and I never even talked about that list. I guess it just goes to show you how chaotic and how spread thin I was at this time and just where my mind was. So I'm gonna just quickly jump in here and say that I made a list, and that list was to edit a YouTube video, and I wanted to go ahead and load up my car to pack up some of the stuff that I wanted to donate to the Humane Society, which was a box of things that I got from my office, and I did vlog that in a couple of vlogs ago. I'll leave that vlog link down below if you guys want to check out that vlog. I am going to be going to donate the Humane Society stuff in this video, well, after this video, because I never got B-roll. There is a used bookstore that I want to donate some books to, as well as donate some books to Goodwill. That was on my to-do list. I don't know where that clip went. I probably didn't even film it, to be totally honest. I am just coming in here to clear up some things, and hopefully you're not as confused anymore. I just finished recording that one video, and I did end up changing my shirt because I forgot that when I wear light colored shirts, sitting in this spot, I look insanely washed out. I had to change into a darker color because I feel like it contrasts better. And now I am gonna not break that glass. I need to go throw out some of the recycling. I'm making really good time. I think it's like 11 or 11:30, I think. I think I'm gonna go ahead and load up all of the stuff into my car. The books, the stuff I wanna go recycle, and the Humane Society stuff as well. So I don't know if you guys would care to know about the books that I am going to either be donating to Goodwill or to that little used bookstore. In this next little segment, I'm just gonna very quickly go through the books that I'm unhauling. You're more than welcome to skip past this part if it's not something you're interested in, but I know I always love to see what other authors and other writers in our AuthorTube community, I always like to know about the books that they read. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 13 books that I'm currently getting rid of. I feel like there's a pretty wide variety of books that I'm getting rid of. I think a lot of these books are sequels. If I liked the first book and I had bought the whole series and I read the whole series and I either really liked the first book and I didn't like the sequels, I am getting rid of the sequels, or I bought all of the books and then I didn't like the first book, so then I'm getting rid of the entire series. That's pretty much what we got going on here. So the first 2 books that I am donating, and I'm doing them together because that's the case for this one. So I am getting rid of A Heart So Fierce and Broken and A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer. These are the 2 books that follow A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. The next 2 books is a similar situation where I liked the first book and but then the series went down from there, unfortunately. But the first book is The Dark Days Club. The Dark Days Pact and The Dark Days Deceit are the following 2 books by Allison Goodman. This next series is going to make one of my friends very sad because she absolutely loves this author, and this author primarily writes thrillers, I believe, and this is her one and only fantasy series, and I can see why. Given to the Sea and Given to the Earth by Mindy McGinnis. And then the next one on this list is, again, another sequel. One of Us is Next, which is the sequel to One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I'm not a big fan of stories that take place in schools just because of my own trauma, and I just don't want to relive it. So unfortunately for both the first book, which is One of Us is Lying, and this one, which is One of Us is Next, I'm not a big fan really of either of them, but because the first one was a gift, I feel bad for donating it. So we're just gonna donate this one because I purchased this one myself. So these next 3 books, I read the first one and I'm indifferent about it. I wasn't satisfied and I wasn't dissatisfied or unsatisfied, whichever is the correct word for that. I don't feel the need to continue with the series. And unfortunately, I bought all 3 books. But the first book is The Vine Witch by Luann G. Smith, and I don't ever remember the order of the other 2. I think The Conjurer is next, and it's book 2 in the same series, and The Glamourist, and I think this is book 3. It wasn't for me, I'll be totally honest. So I'm just getting rid of all 3 of these books because I really don't see myself venturing into that world again. And this last one, I am so upset that I did not like this book, and I ended up DNFing it this year. I just was not jiving with the writing. It is Monsters Born and Made by Tanvi Burwa. So I've got 2 more. I honestly don't even know what this one is about, and I feel like I got this from that used bookstore that I'm probably gonna be returning it to. That's really funny. But it's called A Parchment of Leaves by Silas House. I love this cover. I just think that the time for me to have wanted to read this has passed. I just have other things on my shelf that I want to read more than this one. The last book I am going to get rid of is Leave the World Behind by Ruman Alim. I'm probably mispronouncing the author's name, and for that I apologize. But this story was very disappointing. This was also a DNF that I had this year. So this whole thing is full of books that I'm gonna donate. And I showed this to you guys in another video. It's everything that I'm gonna donate to the Humane Society. I have done a good little bit that was on the schedule for today. I have filmed that video that I needed to film. I brought everything out that I am going to donate or throw away. I don't think I have enough time to go all the way to donate those books. This is the most chaotic vlog I have posted in a very long time, and apparently after the last clip that I showed you guys, I said a couple of things that I ended up cutting because they weren't important. I never vlogged for the rest of the day. No b-roll, no chatting updates, no nothing. So this is where I'm going to end the vlog. I hope you enjoyed this chaotic vlog. It was definitely not intended to be this chaotic, but sometimes that happens. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you were still able to follow along a little bit in my writing, a little bit of my reading journey. Let me know if you did enjoy listening to me talk about some of the books that I was reading, and by some I mean just the one book. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. My name is Autumn, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.